Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today with an Ark video on main channel. What's going on? Well, I'll explain that in a while. But what is happening is Ark Mobile Ultimate Edition has just launched and it's pretty poor in terms of what it's offering. The way it's making people pay to play is pretty egregious. I'm going to cover that as well as the news about Extinction. It looks like it's going to be dropping, but very late, depending what you view it as, or early in the UK, late tonight for American time. So all them details and what's going to go on with me covering Ark in future, let's go. And so Ark Extinction and Bob's Tall Tales 3 of course is releasing later on tonight. In fact, it is going to be in the evening time USA, so expect that to drop at anywhere between, I would say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning UK. Well done Wildcard, yet again, don't give a crap about the rest of the world. Just make sure that the American peoples are okay. And to be honest, they're not either. Most people can't stand having evening drops because it still takes maybe an hour or so to go ahead and download the game. And at that point, a lot of Americans may need to go to bed. Certainly you're not going to have as much time as if it dropped in the morning. You come back from work, downloaded it while you had your dinner, and then you had 4 or 5 hours to play before going to bed and getting up for the grind. But it is what it is. This update will be live for everyone in the morning then. It's already been delayed 3 days. This is part of the remastered, obviously, game. You get Extinction for free. This will conclude Bob's Tall Tales Season Pass. And if you bought that, you're going to get access to all of these Mad Max style-esque rigs with a whole multitude of different options to choose. Flamethrowers, Gatling guns, as well as a whole bunch of different battering rams and maybe looks for your stuff. I've got to hope they have changed the sound of the ATV that's long been in Ark. There's always been an ATV in Ark, believe it or not, but no one ever used it because over 8 years they never bothered adjusting the sound, as it literally makes more noise than anything else in the game and is probably the most irritating thing you've ever heard. So I'm mildly curious about this. There will be a new doggo to play with as part of this DLC if you've bought it. Everyone's going to get access to the Dreadnoughtus if you've got the remaster. Apparently now Ark's biggest, largest creature, with the ability to fire huge phlegm toxic acid balls or some shit like that. We might need a bigger gun than what we're seeing here. When it comes to Extinction, it desperately needed a remaster. It's one of the most hated maps, whether you're a PvPer or PvE. It brought forth the introduction of the Managamar, a thorn in many PvP players' sides, and for the map itself, huge amount of problems and issues with being able to kite some of the creatures and destroy bases from the wastelands, which were pretty OP. So initially when it did launch, destroying people's bases for days, maybe even a week after, with so many problems to do with the orbital drops and stuff that basically fell. This map was definitely rushed. It was led by half the team that previously worked on it, as the rest of the crew were working on Atlas at the time. So what I'm saying is this remaster surely can't be any worse. It's got to be better, right? You're meant to have this forbidden kind of forgotten city in the middle of the map, and then around it 3 unique different biomes: the desert biome, the snow biome, and the underground, effectively aberrant biome. Had biggest selection of bosses and mini bosses we'd seen in any of the previous games or DLC, and it certainly was a challenge defending some of the orbital drops to get loot from all the corrupted dinosaurs, and if you're into mechs and stuff, well yeah, it did seem pretty exciting. So I'm interested to see how it plays out with the new remaster for sure. But honestly, this was the final nail in the coffin for me, really covering Ark as a main priority over other games. It was about this time that I was just getting more and more successful with other games, and after like 3 years of covering Ark pretty much predominantly and seeing all the problems and issues that never really got resolved, I was kind of just done. I did come and check out Genesis 1, and then Genesis 2 came around and I really didn't bother that much with it. But for sure, this was almost the death knell for me and my Ark content. So why am I still here? What am I talking about now? Well, we'll explain that a little bit later. Let's talk about the mobile stuff first. So, the second version of a game on mobile after the first, aimed primarily at their Asian audience. Ark is pretty big in China, and obviously they're owned by a Chinese company. So trying to tap into the mobile market makes sense, and it does generate a lot of money. I don't begrudge them that. It's free to play. You can't really grumble with being able to run around the island for free on your phone, just mincing around doing whatever you want to do. Great stuff. If you want to buy more maps, I think they're about £5, maybe $8, something along them lines, and you'll be able to pick and choose which ones you want. I actually like the sound of that rather than being shoehorned into a battle pass or season pass. Certainly there are maps that I would just not buy or given a choice. And I almost didn't flip my lid when I heard that you can pay $5 or whatever it is for God mode, basically creative commands. When you weigh it up, if you bought every map, it'd still be about 35 quid, and that's about the same price you'd pay for the Xbox or PlayStation version. What's egregious is the Battle Pass, which offers earlier access to new game modes and new content. You're going to get expansion sort of on the keys, the currency that they're going to be using in this to basically speed up processes, whether it's taming, whether it's giving yourself extra weight limit, maybe even more turrets, all of this unofficial. And these keys are something that you're going to be able to go ahead and basically buy with real money or find or log in and earn on a daily basis. And it just seems crazy that you can have such a massive pay to win mechanic available on official servers, which this game is going to have. They're also offering a subscription for like $8 something, and yeah, really, if you pay the subscription every month, that ends up being about $70 a year. And you don't even own all the stuff. It comes with the maps, it will come with more of these keys and a reduction or cheaper price on them and stuff, and you get double XP. Basically, they're desperate for you to sign up for this. This is solely targeted at whales. Whales in gaming are a small minority of people that will spend huge amounts on DLC and microtransactions compared to the rest of us. And gaming companies specifically target these because if they can get them into it, they don't even need anyone else to really start buying small skins and stuff, as long as the whales are buying. Conan Exiles did this with their Bazaar shop and their kind of Battle Pass system they introduced and then got rid of because no one was doing it. So yeah, it's pretty egregious. Again, just shows the greed and the stupidity of Wildcard basically having the Snail as their publisher. Mobile games have always been horrible and tacky and geared towards just rinsing you out your money. By all accounts so far, it runs pretty hot. You need a fairly new device like in the last year to really run it well. And the base game is going to take up about 4.5 GB on your phone. To be fair, this is Grove Street Games doing this under obviously Snail, but yeah, it still boils down to Wildcard and their decisions years ago to basically have Snail Games as their partner. I would not touch this in a million years. I'm sure some of you guys will absolutely love it, and running around on the island, I suppose, is probably the one good thing you can do for free. But the rest of it, just like a lot of mobile gaming, is just so egregious and geared towards rinsing money out of you rather than giving you an actual great experience. So it's a no from me. So what's going on with me? Well, I did have another channel, originally called JPG Ascended. It's actually the third time I've tried rebranding this channel to something else. Originally it was meant to be for 100 days content, and then I was going to try and do it as just maybe more hardcore PvP games. But in the end, I thought maybe the remaster coming out of Ark, and obviously the Ark 2 sequel, turned into my roots that helped make me a YouTuber. Ark was my first big success in YouTube. It allowed me to go full time. And even though I fell out of love with it over the years, I was hoping and hoping that this revigoration of a new game plus the sequel would be good enough reason to dip back into it. But I didn't want to make it part of my main content anymore, as I felt like the main already had so much going on, and I wanted it to continue to be just survival. Also realised that when you've got one channel dedicated to a certain type of game, you generally get a bit more success in views and subs. So splitting it seemed like a good idea. And that's what I did. I covered all the news, always with my critical eye, never being a fanboy, and just basically laying it out to you how I saw things. All the problems and issues that started to mount up pretty much was exactly the same as it's always been. Wildcard just have the inability to learn and make and improve their content. Things were actually going well, like every news video I was doing pretty decent, considering the amount of time I was putting into it. I did some guides and content on some of the new releases and maps, and I've gained 6,000 subs, which ain't bad considering I've not done too much to this channel. I've not uploaded on it for 3 months. But yeah, I did get sick of it. I was going to maybe change it back to, like I said, focus on more PvP games like Rust, maybe even Dune Awakening in future. And then I thought about making it my RPG open world channel. I'm going to be covering games like Avowed next year, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Fable, basically them types of games I want to cover. But bottom line, I don't want to mess around with any more work. 3 channels is just a lot. Trying to cross promote between them is really challenging. Like I said, I've already got 2 channels. The second one's really successful. In fact, it's been more successful than the main for the last 2 years. And that's covering younger style content. Survival games mostly still, but a bit more chill, a bit more relaxed. And yeah, I try to be a bit more family friendly. So you're never going to see like Rust or maybe The Forest, Sons of the Forest here. So ultimately, if I do want to cover Ark, if something does pique my interest, and only if it piques my interest, then it's going to come back home alongside all my other survival content and some of the games that I mentioned next year. There's so many hardcore dedicated Ark fans that won't play or touch anything else. But I know a lot of you do actually appreciate seeing other games. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to test out some of the stuff in Extinction, and if I like the look of it, you may see some videos from me. If I boot it up, there's a bunch of problems or issues, then you may not. But that's the way I'm going to treat Ark on the channel. If there's any kind of news or kind of topics I like the look of, I'll talk about it. But I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to be covering Ark news every single week. But you never know. Maybe if I can put some more time into Ark, it can find a way back into my heart. And that's it, folks. Just a little heads up. And yeah, I thought it was interesting today with the mobile stuff. To give you a heads up why, if you do see any Ark content from me, it'll be back on my main channel, preferred channel. Pretty much, I might actually delete it very soon. So until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you later.